This one opens easily with a butter knife. Just give it a twist and open it up. Little fob unit and just pop out. Let's just check the buttons and individually and see if they unlock the door. So just give it a press. And sometimes there's a little light. So if your fob doesn't work, then you can take this apart. This one comes apart with a coin. I just take a dime, and there's a little indicator right there that this corner will pry up with a dime, so you just give it a little twist and open it up. And the back side has a battery right there, and you just pop that out and replace it with a new battery. There's another pry space right there. You just put a small screwdriver in there and pop the battery out, and then replace your battery. The battery goes in like so with the numbers up, the letters up. And this one I checked it, and it's a 3-volt battery, but I was only getting 2 volts. It was still enough to actuate the door locks and the unlock, so it was fine. So we'll put it back together, check a couple other things. If your battery is fine, snap this together. Okay, so the other thing I tried, since I knew the battery was good, is clean the buttons. So there's a membrane, a rubber membrane you just take out. It separates the buttons from the little switches, the micro switches. And the function of it is there's these little divots that stick up, and those keep the buttons up. After you press the button, it pops back up, and that's what these are for. So just check those, make sure there's no lint in them. I actually went over it with some isopropyl alcohol and a cotton swab, cleaned it up, and then the buttons individually, they'll come out. And what I did was also take your cotton swab and just went around the edges with the swab and the alcohol, and that took quite a bit of lint out. And then the back side, there's that little raised area that needed some cleaning too, so I just cleaned all the buttons up. The other thing I did too, after I did all the buttons, was to clean out the actual recessed area so that the buttons would operate smooth. So after you get that all cleaned up, reassemble it. This goes back in like so. And reassemble your fob. And then just give it another test. And they work right now. That's all I needed to do to fix my fob, was just clean those buttons up. Like I said, the battery was fine. The other thing you could do, if you're not getting enough button action, you've got your buttons cleaned up, you got a new battery, and you're still not getting your buttons to press down and pop back up, it's possible that your membrane is a little too worn out. Or you can go on Amazon and get new membranes for those. There is a membrane over the micro switches, so just check that and make sure it's all clean. The one that gets the most wear, I think, is this membrane right under the buttons. If you look at it, you can see that well, on this particular one, these two two membranes are probably worn a little bit thin. So what you could do is add a little material to them. What I've chosen to do is take a little bit of electrical tape, and I guess you could use other materials. I've seen where people use some foil and some super glue. You could do that too. Cut some squares. And what I'm going to do is just set one right on the micro switch. I would add it between the micro switch and the membrane. I wouldn't put it on top of the membrane, between the membrane and the button. And the reason is of course these little divots, or the purpose of them is to push that button back up after you press it, so you don't want to squash that down any. If anything, you want to actually push it up. So I chose to put mine right on the switch itself. There's a little bit of a moat around between this plastic case and the membrane down here, and when you turn it on its side you can see it's kind of flush anyway. So, and of course your other membrane is going to sit above that anyway, so that's where I chose to put mine. If you turn it upside down or whatever, it's not going to slide around. Just kind of make sure it's on there really good. I'll put another one on. On the other button that gets a lot of use. Okay, so then I'm going to put my membrane, my button membrane, back in. Put it in the right way here. Set the key fob electronics down in there. Make sure it's all stuck in there okay. Okay. And then click it all shut. And just make sure it works. Okay, looks like it works.